Welcome, everyone. Let people join.
Yeah, sure.
Start now.
Can everyone see the slideshow?
I assume so. Like people are on it.
I can see it.
Okay,
See it.
just making sure. All right, so hello everyone. Today we're doing a presentation on Introduction to Startups. So my name is Maureen.
I'm Jessica.
Now I'm Fred.
And we're going to be here talking about the business aspects of hackathons. So you can find us at our @ Discord. And we're very excited to start.
So, what are startups? Startups are companies that are focused on one product or service that they are working on bringing into the market. The founder believes that the service or product is in demand and they're trying to fill in that demand. Essentially, it's just the initial stage of a business. Some examples of startups are like Shopify and Dropbox, and a lot of familiar companies and businesses started as startups, such as Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, and Uber.
So how do you get started? So step one, create a business plan. So a business plan is a written description of your company's future. You outline what you want to do and how you're planning to do it. These plans outline the first 3 to 5 years of your business strategy. And the business plan needs to be the first thing on your list because it'll help you with some other steps of creating a business. And this is a graph of people who are successful with business plans and without business plans. And clearly, people with business plans are typically more successful than people without a business plan starting a business.
So step 2, you have to secure an appropriate amount of funding. So you'll obviously need an adequate capital or a funding source to get yourself off the ground. And the amount of money, honestly, depends on the industry. And there's many people and many funding sources that you can find, and that's what the picture shows. So there's crowdfunding, banks, angel investors, venture capitalists, friends and family, of course, and personal savings and credit being the highest top funding source. So here's just some facts about some startups. So roughly 5,600 or 565,000, startup companies launch in the United States every month. And on average, these businesses raise $78,406. The vast majority of funding comes from the entrepreneurs' pockets, which is why funding is really important. And the cost of doing business is much higher than people initially think, which is why having a business plan, like Jessica mentioned, is very important. And 82% of businesses do fail due to cash flow problems. However, do not worry about that right now. Just worry about your business plan and other steps.
So, to manage your finances, you always want to refer back to the business plan. All business plans contain a financial plan, and this plan usually includes a balance sheet, sales forecast, profit and loss statement, and a cash flow statement. You'll use these financial statements to determine how much funding you'll need to raise in order to get started. Now, you may find that your expenses are actually significantly higher than you initially expected. Maureen, can you go to the next slide? For example, I'm sure you've heard someone say that would make a great app, or like you should make a business out of this. But let's take a look at this graph. Even if you just want a small app and you hire a team of 4 to make it, it could cost you anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. And this doesn't include the cost of running it or customer acquisition costs. And the point is, in order to secure the appropriate funding you need to find out how much money you need to raise in the first place. And to find this number, you need to research and predict realistic financials in your business plan. Let's say that you discover your startup needs $100,000 to get off the ground. Well, if you don't have $100,000, well, don't worry, you can still get this funding elsewhere.
So you got some options, but you want to weigh them all consciously to avoid paying massive interest rates. 22% of business loans go to small businesses. The vast majority of business loans go to large companies that are already established. The reason why this number is so low is because banks are less likely to give large amounts of money to new companies with no income or no assets to default on. So if they lose the money, you have no like real estate to give them back their money. Like you're not reputable. And that's why bank funding was second to the last funding sources on the graphic that we referenced and discussed earlier. So if we can't get the money from a bank, or if we find that the bank is offering you an outrageous interest rate, what options do you have? So to you should proceed carefully because you don't want to give a significant amount of equity in your company away before you even get started. So for example, there are some people go on the show Shark Tank, which is basically they pitch a presentation, their product to some investors, and sometimes they'll usually say, I offer um like 20% of my equity for $200,000. And the Shark Tank person will be like, okay, so they can argue, they can bargain. Like, I want 30% of your equity. And the thing is, you don't want to give away too much of your equity because let's say you give away 50% of your equity. That means that half of your earnings will automatically go to this investor, which is basically you're just losing money. So you have to be really careful about that. And the type of business you're starting also influences the likelihood of angel investors and venture capitalists um, that will give you funding because over half of venture capitalist money in the United States is invested into software and technology. So if you can see the pie chart, a big portion is invested into software and hardware. So if you're in a lot of other like commercial services or healthcare, you're probably not going to get a lot of funding from these specific investors.
So it may not be easy to find venture capitalists if you're not in a certain area, and the graphic explains how your location can make a difference. So, for example, in the state of California, it has the highest amount of venture capitalists. So this doesn't mean that it's not a complete option, but you just have to be aware of other resources and other potential investors like friends and family or your savings, for example. So, when you find a potential investors, you need to know how to pitch your idea quickly and effectively. You have to have your financial numbers memorized, forwards and backwards. No one wants to invest in a company that you yourself are not even confident about. So, you have to be confident and you have to refer to your business plan. Make sure it's presentable, give them a copy, know how to verbalize the plan, and have a proper executive summary. So once you secure the appropriate funding, you can proceed to the next step of launching your startup company. And we'll also be talking more about pitching in another lesson next month. So stay tuned for that one.
Okay, so you're gonna need some help while launching your startup company. So where do you start? Certain people often get overlooked when entrepreneurs are getting their businesses started. Sure, you may realize that you'll need some staff and a manager to help run your company, but is that it? How many people do you need? Well, it all depends on the industry. So let's take a look at an example from a study about the amount of employees for startup companies in the technology industry. So if you see over here in this graph, in the tech industry at least, startups succeed the most with teams of 5 people. But uh, based on or these numbers would be significantly different if you were starting a business in the restaurant industry, however, because you'd need a lot more people, as you need servers, the kitchen staff, bartenders, managers, and all sorts of other jobs. Now, before you can do anything, you need to register your business with the government of Canada. And before you can do that, you need to choose a business name and choose the business type that will suit your business. And for further instructions about how to register, you can just go to the Government of Canada's website. Now, you also need to consult with a lawyer, accountant, and financial advisor. Unless you're an expert in law, finances, and accounting, these 3 people can help save your business some money in the long run. They can explain the legal requirements and tax obligations based on how you structure your business, whether your business is a sole proprietorship, a partnership, a corporation, or a limited liability company. And while your lawyer, accountant, and financial advisors are not necessarily employees on your payroll, they're still important people to surround yourself with. And make sure to not forget about insurance. Shop around and find an insurance agent who can get you your coverage at an affordable rate. And now you can start hiring people within your organization.
So, step 4, find a location and build a website. Your startup company needs a physical address and a web address. Whether it's offices, retail space, or a manufacturing location, you need to buy or lease a property to operate your business. As you can see from the graph, leasing property for your business is significantly more expensive than buying. With that said, it may not be realistic for all entrepreneurs to tie up the majority of their capital in real estate. You should strategize this for your business plan. Try to secure enough funding so that you can afford to buy a property. It's worth the investment and will save you a lot of money in the long run. You also need to create a website. Don't wait until the day your business officially launches to get your website off the ground. It's never too early to start promoting your business. If customers are searching online for a service in your industry, you want them to know that you exist, even if you're not quite open for business yet. You can even start generating some income through your website. If it's applicable, start taking some pre orders or scheduling appointments early. For those of you who aren't convinced on the pre orders business model, take a look at Tesla on the chart to your right. Um, so another key thing is just make sure your website is fast. I can't stress this point enough. Here's a video of a guy talking about how to speed up your website that we'll watch. It's only like 2 minutes.
Amazon did a study and they found that every second delayed their website load, they lose 1% of their revenue. That's a lot of money. Sure, you're not as big as Amazon, but it's roughly the same. For every second your website takes longer to load, you're going to lose more revenue. Hey everyone, I'm Neil Patel, and today I'm going to teach you how to speed up your website. The first thing you need to do is use Google PageSpeed. This is a tool by Google, and it'll show you what's causing your website to load slow. You put in your URL, it'll analyze it, it'll give you a score. If you have an amazing score, then great, you're doing a good job. If you have a terrible score, it'll even show you what to fix to improve your speed. The second thing you should consider is using the Google AMP framework. A lot of people are coming to your site on mobile devices. Mobile devices, in many cases, will make up the majority of your traffic. So why not make your website load super fast for mobile users? And the way you can do this is by using the Google AMP framework. The third thing you want to consider is using a CDN. A CDN is a content delivery network. What that means is they take your website and they put it all over the globe. So let's say someone's coming to your website from India, even though your website is hosted in the US, they'll replicate your site and put it on a server in India. So that way, all the people in India can see your website right away. They do this by putting your website in all major regions. They even put your website in all major regions within the US. One company that offers CDN solutions is Akamai. They're expensive, but they're really good. Last but not least, you need to cache your web pages. If you have a WordPress blog, this is really simple. You can use a plugin called W3 Total Cache. If you don't have a WordPress blog, reach out to your developer or your server hosting company, and they'll tell you how you can cache your website. If you do those things, your site's going to load faster, and you're going to grow your sales, because when people come to your site, they won't get frustrated anymore, and they're going to be like, site loads fast, I like it, might as well buy.
So on the side, there's a link to a guide by the same dude to building your own website if you guys want to like read that later. But another important thing is that companies can't really survive without an online presence these days. If you've never launched a website before, obviously go to that link. It may sound like a tough task, but it's not really that difficult. Once your website is up and running, you need to expand your digital presence. So that could be on social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and those are just some of the big ones. Your prospective customers are using these platforms, so you need to be on them as well so they can see that your company actually exists, so they might buy from it.
Amazon did a study and they found that
Sorry. All right, so step 5, you need to become a marketing expert. So if you're not already a marketing expert, you definitely need to become one. So you might have the best product or service in the entire world, but if nobody knows about it, then your startup can't succeed. You have to learn how to use digital marketing techniques like content marketing, affiliate marketing, email marketing, search engine optimization, social media marketing, search engine marketing, and pay-per-click advertising. We're also going to talk more about these methods in another lesson. But if you're starting a small business in a local community, you can always take advantage of some older and conventional methods, such as print advertising, radio advertisements, television, and billboards. While these methods can be productive, outbound marketing efforts are not as effective as they used to be. So if you're stuck in an old school mindset and you can't adapt to the new trends from the marketing world, you'll struggle to get your startup off the ground. For those who aren't efficient marketers, there's no shame in hiring a marketing director or even a marketing team, depending on the size of your company. Your marketing efforts will be one of the most important, if not the most important, components of launching your startup businesses. So this is just a quick picture showing the inbound versus outbound marketing. So clearly outbound is going out of style and your percent of respondents will not be as high if you're just using outbound marketing other than inbound marketing. So you also need to allocate a marketing budget. You have to determine how you're going to distribute this money across different channels and have a plan to try to maximize your return on investment for each campaign. This graph displays where companies are having the highest and lowest rate on investments based on their marketing costs. Take these numbers into consideration before you spend your entire budget on something like banner ads or television advertisement. So the bottom line is marketing needs to be a top priority for your startup company. And you can see that, for example, like $40 return on investment for email, for example, and only $2 investment on banner ads.
If you're following this plan in order, the good news is that you're already on the right track to building a customer base. And step 6 is building a customer base. Now, starting a website, growing your digital presence, and becoming an effective marketer are all steps in the right direction. But now it's time to put these efforts to the test and open the doors to your business or website. Getting a customer to make a purchase is the first step, but this isn't nearly enough. You need to keep your customers coming back. This statement holds true for physical store locations as well as e-commerce businesses. So what's the key to getting a repeat customers? It's no secret. You just need good customer service. The customer needs to be your main priority. They're the lifelines of your business and they need to be treated accordingly. Once you establish a steady customer base, you can use it to your advantage. You'll get more money from your existing customers than from new ones. How do you sell more products or services to your current customers? Upselling. It's a more effective method than cross-selling. Less than 0.5% of customers respond to cross-selling, but over 4% of your customers will buy an upsell. These strategies both double back to having effective marketing campaigns. Overall, establishing, building, and maintaining a customer base will help you get your startup company off the ground.
So this is a graph of people of a company, and most companies get a lot of their revenue and income and customers from existing customers rather than new ones. So it's really important to keep your old customers. So the next step is basically prepare for anything. So with this, expect the unexpected. Starting a startup obviously won't be easy. A lot of people struggle with it. A lot of them don't really make any profit. They don't become anything big. Well, obviously, like big companies like Facebook also started from startups. So you just make sure that you're being successful. You're not losing any money. Make sure you pay your bills, pay your taxes, and operate within the law. And other things are like some things will be out of your control, like natural disasters and crisis in the nation's economy, such as there are also things like corona, like diseases. Like obviously, your business won't operate that well when like we have a pandemic going on. But just try to do your best with everything that you have, and try to learn from your mistakes if you make some. So let's recap. So for I'm just gonna like quickly recap what we said in this lesson. So launching a startup, I just said, it's not easy. First, you need to determine if your idea is worth turning into a business. You can also decide if you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Because even though the United States have 27 million entrepreneurs, they're still behind in entrepreneurs compared to other regions in the world. And why? It's because it's not easy. And there's a lot of competitors out there. There's a lot of people trying to start new businesses with great ideas too. And with that said, having a proper guideline to follow will help you simplify the process. Based on what we've discussed, you can get your startup off the ground in 7 steps. Start by creating a comprehensive business plan. Your business plan will help you with the remaining steps required to launch your company. You also need to raise money. Without proper financial funding, your startup doesn't really stand a chance. Surround yourself with the right people. Find people to help you in spaces that you're not the strongest of expertise in. Um, don't worry about don't forget about lawyers, insurance agents, and accountants. You're going to need those people. Build your website. Find a physical location for your business to operate. Even if your startup hasn't launched yet, it's never too early to start marketing. These steps will help you build a customer base with your company. Establishing a steady clientele will also help you grow your startup. So, just lots of customers is really, really important. And launching your startup business won't be perfect, but you need to prepare for unforeseen circumstances. So, proper planning and execution will really help limit these hurdles, which basically all goes back to the business plan.
All right, so now we just have some resources that will help you along the way. So first, we have some networking resources. There's the Global Accelerator Network. It's a resource that offers short-term mentorship-based programs that help you launch in a smart, strategic way. Basically, it's just a bunch of people who will try to help you launch really smoothly. And there's Startup Grind. It's a large community of startups, founders, innovators, and creators. This will allow you to connect with other like-minded entrepreneurs and innovators and expand your network. Some educational resources. We have edX. edX offers free courses for startup founders with a limited budget from prestigious universities. Coursera provides a convenient way to expand you and your team's knowledge and skill set. The larger your team's skill set is, the less you'll have to outsource tasks to other people and the less your expenses will be. So expanding your own skill set is really important. And Udemy, similar to Coursera, Udemy is another excellent resource for learning about all types of subjects and acquiring the necessary skills for your business. It offers over 42,000 courses and a network of more than 14 million students. And you can also get numerous certifications from taking their courses. Now for a planning resource, we have Strategizer. Strategizer offers a tool called the Business Model Canvas, which helps users create on one page a business model that helps direct their startup journey. The company also offers other resources like the Value Proposition Canvas and other tools businesses can use to improve their strategic management process. And here we just have some other resources. You can read these. There are other guides on how to start a startup. And make sure to always stay on the lookout for your own resources, because just like startups, resources will always come and go. You want to be able to take advantage of those to the best of your ability.
So that ends our presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Well, okay. I assume not, but like if you guys do have questions, attendance will be done on a form. So there's just a couple questions from the presentation that you guys have to answer. And then at the bottom, it'll ask you like if you have any questions, and if you ever think of anything, you could just plug it into the bottom of that and then send it in so we can count attendance. Soho just posted the attendance, and we will also post the presentation if you guys ever want to look over it, and we'll post a video of it. But
Yeah,
yeah.
recording. But yeah, so you have our ats and our contacts. Now go start your own business.